Becoming a parent is one of life's most rewarding experiences. From watching your child's first words to dropping off on the first day of kindergarten to watching them grow up to be successful, caring adults. Most parents one day dream of becoming grandparents, hoping to spoil their adorable grandchildren. According to ACOX 2017, people first become grandparents usually around the age of 47. But without having comprehensive sex education in all public schools, you can become a grandparent at a lot earlier age than you expected. There is nothing simple or comfortable about talking to teenagers about sexual education. In a perfect world, teenagers will learn everything they need to know about sex ed from their parents. But due to the awkward nature of the subject, some parents give insufficient information. This is where schools would come in to fill the gaps. Proper sex education would include STDs, safe sex, puberty, healthy relationships, contraceptions, abstinence, and sexual orientation. Planned Parenthood's most recent poll stated that 96% of parents are pro having sexual education in all public schools. Sex education is supported by numerous prestigious health and medical organizations, such as American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the Society of Adolescents in Health. Over 150 organizations are members of the National Coalition to Support Comprehensive Sexual Education. If sex education covers so much vital information, then why isn't it mandatory to have comprehensive sex in all 50 states? Well, all 50 states do have some sort of sexual education. The National Conference State Legislature, or the NCLS, says that 24 states in the District of Columbia have mandatory sex education. That means only 24 states out of 50 have mandatory sex education in public schools. 21 of those 24 states mandate sex education to include HIV education. Only 20 states require education to be medically, factually, or technically correct. The state's definition of medically correct can vary depending on their Department of Review curriculum. There are many different types of contraception methods depending on someone's lifestyle, but in 11 states, they teach the abstinence-only method. This means that if a school chooses so, they don't have to teach students anything else besides abstinence, leaving out information on STDs, safe sex, puberty, healthy relationships, and contraceptions. This leaves students who choose not to be abstinent at a higher risk for teenage pregnancy, contracting and spreading STDs, and learning misinformation about their growing bodies. Abstinence-only education is ineffective and unethical. Just because you only teach abstinence doesn't mean teenagers are going to stop having sex. This abstinence until marriage program typically advocates for monogamous heterosexual relationships as being the only acceptable sexual relationship for preventing pregnancy and STDs. There is no way to inform students on how to avoid unwanted pregnancies or sexually transmitted disease. Laura Lindbergh, a co-author and reporter at the Guttmacher Institute, said that, quote, "Not just unrealistic, but it leaves our young people without the information and skills that are needed," end quote. Laura also said, quote, "We fail our young people when we don't provide them with complete and medically accurate information," end quote. When these teenagers who are taught abstinence only do begin to have sex, they could not use a condom, put the condom on wrong, and not be aware of any other contraception methods. For example, if a young person decides to have sex for the first time, uses a condom but doesn't know they're allergic to latex, will probably have no clue that non-latex condoms exist. These abstinence-only educations don't even succeed in reducing teenage pregnancies or STDs. The Washington Post reported on a University of Washington study that found that people who are taught all-inclusive sex education are 60% less likely to get pregnant than abstinent-only education. 60% of high school students are engaging in sexual activity by the time they graduate. This is why it's so important to find the correct sexual education for your students. So you have your classic abstinence only, which doesn't teach anything but wait until marriage. You also have your abstinence plus, which really stresses that you should wait till marriage to have sex, but does teach about how to prevent pregnancies and STDs. You also have your all-inclusive, comprehensive sexual education. This one includes it all, from preventing pregnancies to contraception methods to about puberty. This is your most effective program out there and the one that should be included in all public schools. An uncommon but still useful sex ed program is holistic sexual education. This is a much broader approach. Holistic sex education is when teenagers are guided through subjects like self-esteem, employment, mental and physical health, and family life. Including the holistic approach and the comprehensive approach would give teenagers a wide variety of information to help them make life and proper sexual decisions. Making it mandatory for all public schools to teach comprehensive sex education is a must. The more we use this approach, the more likely we are to break the stigma around sexual education. It is our duty as educators and parents to give the right tools and information so our students make smart sexual decisions.